check it out. I met up with Andy in New York, and he started telling me all about the rail. So wait till the end to hear about Andy's experience with it. This was a pretty crazy day. Andy hit me up and said, hey, I want to smith grind this rail. I had no idea what rail it was. We get there and it's a 26 with a kink at the end. It's also the rail in Band This that Frankie Hill tries to board slide with a launch ramp. So we're there and we don't have a filmer. I give my extra camera to Sean Hayes, who's Andy's trainer. He's also trained Matt Berger, Scott DeCenzo, and trained Aldrin Garcia, helped him get his core strength up to do the high ollie record, or the world record in 2011. He beat it because of Sean Hayes. He wouldn't have never been able to do it if Sean hadn't trained him. Also in these clips, you're going to see when it's wet, you are not supposed to skate, especially not 26 stair rails with kinks on them. I mean, he's sliding everywhere. I thought he was going to get broke. Maybe it helped that it was wet so he could slide out, but I mean, he's bruising his heels at the end. When he lands it, he goes into the wall. He actually bruises his heel even harder. You'll also notice that there's a part where Sean's like, hey, what's up? I'm trying to talk to him. And Andy's just like so concentrated, like focused to be able to get this trick done. Like he was like, I'm getting this trick. This is going to be one of my last tricks. Or I forget where it is in his part. Also at the end, there's some photos that I shot. So yeah, please enjoy. You all right? You all right, bud? You hurt your knee?
No, it's just a heel bruise.
Yeah, Andy, where are we at?
I don't know.
Long Beach.
Yeah. Long Beach.
Yeah, you look really good.
Yeah.
Commitment from the top. Stand up on it. All the way.
Just gotta like not jump off.
No, dude. Ride it out. Hi, you got this, bro.
Holy shit. You okay? Yeah. Did you just hurt yourself in the wall? Oh no. What are you doing? Are you alright? You hurt your knee?
No, it just, I heel bruised it even further in my board in primo. I fucking did it though.
That was insane.
I fucking did it. Just get the fuck out of here.
You can't even walk.
Yeah. Sick.
I'm here now live with Andy Anderson to talk about his amazing. All right, seriously though.
Hi.
He doesn't skip a beat. Let's talk about that Frankie Hill rail.
Talking about the 29 rail. Man, when I found out it wasn't 30, I was so bummed. That's why I had to do that other rail, because it was over 30 stairs.
Oh my God.
I was like, I'm not messing with rails unless it's over 30 these days.
Your mom yelled at me for that rail. You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
She's like, I can't believe you brought him there. I was like, no, I didn't bring him there. He brought me.
I got a lot to say about that rail, because the construction of that rail was exactly the same as the construction of the 5-stair handrail at King George SkyTrain Station in Surrey, where I grew up. And like Hippie Mike made me 50-50 that rail, like way back. Someone's yelling at you. So Hippie Mike made me do this rail way back, and then I was on a tour that I initiated with Webichodes. Oh my God, dude, the story keeps going. So Webichodes was a dude I met in Kelowna, and he was a filmer, and I wanted to do a trip down to Cali by myself with a filmer. This is before I knew anybody. And I hit him up on Instagram, hey man, you want to come out? And he just replied yes. I think he like quit his job for that trip, like quit his job the next day, flew to San Francisco, met up with him. Anyway, that was the first time I ever saw the rail, was on that trip. So for years I was thinking about this rail, knowing that I could get onto it. And then another big thing about that rail for me was I was doing a lot of the stationary grind stalls on flat bars because I wanted to learn how to balance on anything so I could do crazy long rails, but I hadn't done any death-defying rails at that point. Yeah, so that was like the first one. What's up? Chilling. So that was like me proving to myself that learning how to stall on rails wasn't useless, that it led to these gnarly things. The only difference being the amount of danger of falling off is so much higher when you're going down that. Third thing, or fourth or fifth, I don't know what other thing I'm on. That rail was so long that I had the moment where I'm getting on the rail and I'm still on it, and then my brain goes, you can jump off. It's okay, you can jump off. And you have to fight that feeling. So you're like, no, staying on. I'm staying on. I'm staying on. And then you get off. Like a lot of rails that you skate, you just get on it and you're off it. So to be on a rail long enough that you're actually having conversations with yourself, sometimes more than one conversation, it's a long time. You know, time slows down in those death-defying events. So that was a big feat for me. And then the wall at the end of the rail, dude, if you fall over that wall, you're dead. It's like a 2-story drop, maybe 3 to a street. So that was one of my biggest fears, which was nice because I was thinking already past the rail. So that usually when you do a trick, it's easy to think about getting onto it, but it's hard to think about the whole thing. And I had already perceived I was gonna slide out and then hit the wall.
Hey, wait one sec. There's a train right there because we're right underneath LES. And you can't hear anything when that thing's coming over. It's pretty intimidating. All right, we're back.
So that rail for me was my like, I envisioned it for years, and then I picked a day to go there, and that was the day we showed up. The ground was wet, but the ground being wet was less of a factor because I had already decided I was gonna do it that day. So it was like, it's a 29 stair handrail. The ground being wet isn't adding that much risk. Like, I'm already putting myself in so much danger. And I swear the wet ground saved me a couple times, because when I would fall, I would just slip out, opposed to like gripping the ground and tweaking something.
I saw that in the footage, but I was kind of scared for you.
Yeah, and skating in Vancouver growing up, like, so used to falling on wet ground. So it was just, the biggest thing was deciding I was going to do it and then figure out how later. Oh my God, there's a perfectly framed photo of this pigeon through the... Here, film my phone for a second.
You're funny.
Look at that. I gotta get that pigeon clear. Okay, we good. Yeah, so that rail meant a lot to me.
What's crazy was I was filming at the bottom with my camera, and Sean, I gave my other camera to Sean, and you were just like, okay, let's do it. I'm like, are you sure? We don't have a filmer, but I'm gonna shoot a couple of photos and then try to film it. Hopefully you don't land it first try.
So gnarly.
But hopefully you do land it first try, because otherwise you can get really broke. And in that footage, you can see yourself, like, there were times where you could have whatever you to your knee, ankles, like.
Yeah, I was really close to getting absolutely obliterated.
Yeah.
Multiple times. But I knew that going into it, so it wasn't a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you prepare yourself for those things, you can't be a dumbass.
Yeah.
But yeah, Long Beach Convention Center. And then it was at the Long Beach Convention Center, dude. Like, that's such an iconic spot. And then to build on that, after wanting to do it for so many years, right before I was about to do it, Alex Midler did it. Backside 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? So that gave me the push, like, okay, go, front 50th. And then Malik Simpson, I believe his name is. I forget his name. Homie of Nigel, front 50-50'd it. Like a week before I was gonna go there. So then I couldn't 50 it, so I had to smith it. And then that built into the smith. And I think the smith was the trick for it.
I think the trick was that it was in the rain. And then I found out that it was a Frankie Hill rail.
Yeah, and then way later we found out that that was the Frankie Hill rail that was his ender and band this, that he never actually landed.
Yeah.
And it was his ender just because he tried it. But the rail had changed. It wasn't the same square bar, but it was the same spot.
Yep.
And then the one on the other side is capped. So there's like 3 or 4 of the exact same rail, and 2 or 3 of them are capped.
Yep.
But there's a crack at the top too. But I knew I could handle the crack because I 50-50'd the one when I was 15 in Surrey. So that was just the exact same rail, just more stairs. It was hilarious. The rail meant a lot to me, man. And that was like my push. Because I knew nobody would take me seriously unless I was doing stuff like that.
I wonder. I think people like you for what you're doing, not so much the big stuff. And plus, I got to keep you away from the big stuff because your mom's gonna yell at me.
Nah, dude, it's so funny. But the big stuff, I felt like I needed to do to prove to not only myself, but the industry that I don't play on the big stuff because it doesn't turn me on in the same way that it fires up some people. But that rail turned me on, so I attacked it. And if I didn't do that, that would have been because I was too scared. You know, a lot of rails I don't skate, not because I'm too scared, but because I'm not enthusiastic about it at all. It's not calling to me. That rail was calling to me, and I needed to do it. I needed to conquer it. And sometimes, man, it's weird getting older and being like, am I gonna do something bigger? Am I gonna not touch obstacles like that again? But really, it's always the same thing, which is do what you feel on the inside. And that rail I felt, and I had to follow that feeling.
Cool. I'm stoked. That one's gonna go down in history. Let's go get Yokomata. How do you say it?
I don't know.
Fucking coffee. Let's go get a fucking coffee.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think they got coffee here. Yeah, but yeah. So the one thing I wanted to do my own video on about that rail was just how much time slowed down when I was on the rail, and the flow state of, flow state comes in multiple levels, but one of the levels is time slows down. your vision is like insanely clear, and then my brain is totally like, you can do this, make the decision. Are you gonna land it or not? Are you gonna, and you're flying down this thing and you're having a conversation with yourself. Like, there's so much going on. It's not like, a lot of tricks are blackout moments where you go for the trick and sometimes even before you pop, you black out, and then you wake up after you've landed it. And I've always been a fan of these longer form tricks where that's almost impossible because the time length is so long, even if it's just split seconds. So it's almost like you black out and then you wake up, but you're still on the rail. And that is such a trip. It's so hard to describe, but I'm doing my best to describe it. But there was this very, I felt like, special, almost spiritual experience on that rail because I built it up so much and because it takes so long, and I kept falling over to the one side, and I remember just being fully on it, like, I'm gonna go through this kink and just lift up, handle the kink. Like, it's more than just skateboarding. It's pushing the limits of your body and mind in the ways that you want to. Skateboarding is the tool in which we explore.
Cool. Stoked.